All right, welcome to the pre-game preamble, and uh, I hope you guys are all doing wonderful and had a wonderful weekend. I am painting a few miniatures and getting ready to run my OSC Advanced game, which is set in the classic Gazetteer Greyhawk world setting. The player characters themselves have just left Geoff and are heading into Bissell on their way to the Yatil Mountains, where, for whatever reason, the gnomes in the group have convinced everyone else to go with them in search of a gnome town, city, whatever settlement that they have heard is in the region. So, what's going to happen, we're going to have to see. Because, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Because too many of the people that play at my table might watch these videos. So we don't want that. That said, especially my brother, he could be creeping around somewhere and he'll be at the table or he'll be gaming with us. And then we've got a player who has been unable to game with us since, I don't know, 20 years ago. And now things have finally situated to the point where he can join us. He will be playing the 5th level human paladin tonight because that's the character he wanted to play. My maybe soon-to-be brother-in-law, he really hasn't said much about anything, so I have no idea what he's doing. Is he playing? Because he hasn't told me what kind of character. Okay. Sorry. Hey, James. Just stopping by to say hi. Well, I mean, it's probably late. Oh, yeah, midnight. Yeah. I was going to say, you're halfway around the world. So, well, Satya, thank you for dropping by to say hello. I appreciate it. And enjoy your night's sleep in, I think, what is rated the #1 happiest country on the planet. So that must be nice. The #1 happiest planet or country on the planet. If I remember reading the list right, it might have changed. But so my maybe soon to be brother-in-law is playing tonight. I just have no idea what he's playing. Game today, Borrow Maze. Yeah, the Borrow Maze is so good. I have it on the table, and it's just a matter of me picking a place in Greyhawk to put it. Because, Borrow Maze is in a swamp. Certain things will have to be changed, but just so that they fit with the background. But overall, yeah, it's such a good adventure. I mean, I cannot speak highly enough. Look at this growing pile of 3D printed Call of Cthulhu miniatures. Like I've got my Dark Goat of the Wood, Shub Niggurath, printed up. I've got the Dunwich Horror printed up. Horror, I should say. There's the Dunwich Horror. Somewhere on him, amongst all the eyeballs, there should be a human face or something. I don't know. I've been working on my ships. See, I put the wooden deck on and starting to. I'm gonna have to put some barrels on though, because you put it near Blackmore. Nice. That's a good choice. So I need to. I don't know why I'm obsessed with 3D printing H.P. Lovecraft monsters, but I am because I keep doing it. And other than the occasional one-off, or maybe using them for Mansions of Madness, Nyarlathotep, I believe. the crawling chaos. I don't know if they'll get much actual play other than those couple of things, but for whatever reason, I really enjoy messing with them, you know. I haven't been doing a lot of Trench Crusade lately because I finished the primary armies, believe it or not. My Heretic Legion, my Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent, and my Trench Pilgrims and all that done. But put it near Blackmoor. Nice. See, I got my Gazetteer here, and it's got the map in it. So let's go down here, though. So, no, I don't want any of this. This is way, way away from where I want to be. Okay, so if I look here, they're entering Bissell from Hakath along the Real Stream River. Yeah, I'm not seeing any really swampy areas in this region I could put it. So, hey, what's up, GM Cody? If COC even viable to use minis? Sometimes. The thing is, because I own Mansions of Madness 2nd edition, if I want to have a shootout between, the Cold Marshes near Blackmoor, that's a huge swampy area, isn't it? But if I wanted to simulate a shootout between like cultists and the players, I can literally, because of the tiles that came in that game, build a whole city block or with the interior buildings and everything, doors, the whole 9 yards. So yeah. I mean, but you're right. It probably is better played theater of the mind. So let's look. Okay, look here though, near my beloved Uliks, the 3 Uliks, my very favorite part of the realms. There's a swamp right next to Shibboleth in the Grand March. So I could. Oh, there's a swamp in the south of the Kingdom of Keelan too, on the other side of the Dreadwood. Building your trenches, awesome, dude, awesome. Yeah, I just mentioned that the reason I haven't talked about Trench Crusade a whole lot is because I've actually my board is done, and I need to get all this junk off. I've been storing stuff in big ass stuff I'm never using. It's all getting, pictures taken of it and sold. But my trench board is done. All of my trench armies are done that I wanted to get done. There's still a couple I could work on, but by and large, I mean, since you're only painting between 10 and 15 miniatures, and if you're painting like New Antioch, they're all going to be wearing some form of green with maybe black or leather ammo packs, and then the guns. I mean, it's just not that hard to paint an army for Trench Crusade. They did release a new map, which got them in trouble with lefties, because apparently the lefties are mad that all of the demon gates, for the most part, are in the Middle East, and they consider that to be a super racist thing. I, for my part, just laugh, because I've heard that the creators are pretty hard leaning to the left. And it's always funny to me when these people eat their own. Plus, it's like, it's kind of stupid because, and I've said this before, I know I repeat myself, but where did they expect all the demon gates to be? Right? It's like from Poltergeist, the statue they keep showing of Pazuzu in like the second Poltergeist and stuff. I've said this before, that's northern Syria, right? Baal is a Middle Eastern god. I mean, there's a lot of evidence, and I'm sure some people would get mad that I say this, but there's a lot of evidence that Baal is actually Allah. the god of the Kaaba, because before the Quraysh tribe, I believe, took over and started doing their thing, the chief god of the Kaaba was Baal. And the meteorite in the Kaaba that they would kiss and whatever, that was part of the Baal worship thing, right? So basically, that, the argument could be made, and I know this is very controversial, but the argument could definitely be made that not only is Allah not the God of Abraham, but is in fact the arch nemesis of the God of Abraham, which would be Baal or Baal. Because I mean, I don't know if you guys ever read any of the scripture, but the ancient Israelites were constantly screwing up. It's like every time God would be like, or Adonai, as they say, would be like cool with them and be like, you guys are awesome, I'm going to hook you up. One of their kings would fall in love with some crazy big booty chick from some other kingdom, and they'd start building temples to Baal. And it just happens over and over in the Tanakh. I was reading the Old Testament, and Baal is mentioned. Baal is the leader of the three. It's like, if you're into Christianity at all, you understand how most Christian traditions have a trinity, right? Well, there's an opposing trinity, and that's Baal, Lilith, and Moloch. And those are the three main demons that constantly appear throughout biblical stuff. But I mean, getting back to Trench Crusade, since you're basing Trench Crusade on, an alternate history that deviated at 1099, which means everything that, prior to that is the same as now, let's say. Yeah, all of the evil demons were in the Middle East. Why'd they think that like a demon gate was going to open up and Odin was going to jump out in the middle of Scandinavia? That would be stupid. That'd be dumb. Yep, Sachi, you're 100% right. That is like when I used to be a practicing Jewish person. That is what the Tanakh teaches you, is that it's a history. And the history is, you have King Saul, and God blesses King Saul, and then sends a prophet and says to Saul, do this thing, which is wipe out the cannibal Canaanites. Saul wipes the men out, but keeps the flock and the women, even though the prophet of God had told him to wipe all of it out, right? And as a result, some of the Israelites begin worshiping Canaanite gods. So then David gets chosen and lifted up, gets rid of Saul. David's the blessed of God. But what does David do? He screws over Uriah and, I mean, literally knocks his wife up, starts doing all this crazy shit. So you have the fall of David. And then Solomon rises up as this wise king, marries some crazy chick from the south, starts building idols to Baal and Moloch. Boom, there goes. It's like this constant cycle of, hey, everything's awesome. We love God and the prophets. And then like 10 minutes later, it's like, I'm booty blind and I've decided to build an idol and chuck kids into it, And it's like, wow. But that's, I mean, those who know, and I don't want to go too far on that path, too deep, even though I could, because I love talking about it. You guys know that. But getting back to the Trench Crusade thing, things I don't understand. Why is Imperial Russia the Tsardom of Novgorod instead of Moscow? I don't understand that. Yeah, Saul was jealous of David. Yeah, tried to kill him a lot of times. That is a weird choice. Novgorod, I mean, I guess it kind of could make sense, since I think Novgorod is where Saint Alexander Nevsky is from. And it was Alexander Nevsky that defeated the Germanic Northern Crusades. So maybe that's why they made that decision. I don't know. And supposedly there's a demon gate like somewhere north of Finland, and the Finns are out there fighting some kind of desperate winter war against snow devils and with Molotov cocktails and shit like that. And Finland in this time period isn't the Archduchy of Finland, which was part of the Empire of Russia. But the one thing, okay, these things I'm saying confuse me a little bit, but the one thing that doesn't confuse me is that the majority of demon gates would be in the Middle East because, I mean, duh, I mean, got a new laptop. Nice. Playing the video game. Are you playing Battletech or are you playing MechWarrior 5? Been a long time, Jose, and I'm pretty sure I put the link in there, but if you're playing games, I get it. I've been playing Vanheim or Valheim, which is apparently you were a Viking and you died in battle, and Hunan drops you in Vanheim or Valheim. It's Valheim, I think. And then your job is to defeat all of the main monsters, like the world bosses of Valheim. And if you do, or Vanheim, God, terrible, you can be ascended to join Odin in Valhalla. And yeah, so yesterday I made a video. I pulled a Minecraft where I built a boat, and I thought, well, I'm on this island. I'll just circumnavigate the island, right? Got lost for like 2 hours because there are tiny little rivers that wind between different islands that you wouldn't think your boat can get through, but it can. So I ended up missing one of those rivers between two islands, and I went from my home island to the next island and started circumnavigating that. And yeah, I was just out in the weeds for a long time, a long time. And that game is absolutely, I think I said it last night on the video I made about it. It is a 100% lethal, like no doubt, just lethal shit. It's everything will kill you. A lot of things, and I mean common monsters, if you're not paying attention, can one shot your ass. And especially because in that game, you start out with like 12 hit points. That's what you get, 12 hit points, and that's all you get. Yeah, I don't know, Satya, how they did that. That's why had lots of fun. Okay. My brother calls Ark the game Ark, the dinosaur game I love so much, the game that was designed to piss you off, right? That's what Hungar calls Ark. And Valheim is like Ark on steroids. Because, like I said, if you're not prepared, the weakest monster in Valheim can two-shot you at least. One shot, maybe. If you're not paying attention and it runs up behind you, it could, in theory, just one-shot you, you're dead. And like the first time I encountered a troll, and these are Scandinavian trolls, not little green rubbery trolls, I think I died 20 times before I managed to bring it down. And it didn't heal between my deaths. I kept reappearing, running, fighting it. And the only way I managed to kill it is I dug a big ass trench and lured it. And when it fell into the trench, I just stood back and shot it in the face with a bow and arrow, and it couldn't get out of the pit. And I learned that tactic from the story about how the Native Americans killed the giants that used to eat them. According to that story, they dug a big hole and covered it over. And when the giants chased them, they fell down in the hole. And the Braves just ran out and shot them to death. Yeah, you can't teleport with minerals. So if you go into the Black Forest to mine tin and copper, or you go into the swamp to mine iron, you have to literally drag it back over land or by boat. It is. Now, am I addicted to it? Yes. And my brother-in-law called my wife today and was talking about how he wants to get on a server together with each other. And one thing about the game that's cool is if you make a character and you unlock stuff on a server, if you go to any other server, your character keeps all of the stuff that he's carrying and all of the tech you've unlocked. So that's good. That means I don't have to defeat any of the world bosses again. I've already did it. Okay. But that's the only cool thing. No, there's a lot of cool things about it. I think the reason I like the game so much is because it is absolutely challenging. There is nothing easy about this game. And, you know, that's kind of what I need. Goblins, wasps, oh yeah, the mosquito things, the luxes, which can just absolutely just punch your ass all over the place. Yeah, I'm talking about somebody mentioned it. Yeah, you can build a cart, which is awesome. But if you're not paying attention how you're dragging the cart and you drag it against stumps and rocks and shit, you could damage your cart. And then, you know, it's like, yes, this game was designed specifically to just frustrate the shit out of you. But yeah, right now I'm just getting into the swamp area. And the server I'm playing on, the seed was Odin Scotty, because I created a new server. I looked it up. And with the Odin Scotty server, all of the biomes are relatively close to each other. So, I mean, that'll make it easier, even though, yeah, I don't consider it cheating any more than getting a specific seed for my Minecraft server would be. But I do have to admit, it does make things a lot easier. So to get to the swamp is, you know, relatively close instead of literally like a full 2-day in-game journey on a boat. Yeah, tame loxes and ride them. Nice. Yeah, the Japanese, they don't pull any punches with their video games, and that's why their video games, I mean, it's like, look at the video games, they're super popular. It's either games made in Japan or independent games, because this game is an independent game. You know what I mean? And because, and I don't know, maybe people will disagree. I hope not, but you know, we all got that right. I think that, like Hollywood, AAA game studios have forgotten how to make games. You know, it's like they're so busy trying to do whatever the hell they're trying to do that they just don't make good games anymore. Dark Souls was pretty good. Dragon Ball video games, I've never played that. Honestly, I was playing Ark Conan Exiles, but I played Conan when it actually came out, was an MMO for a year and a half. And Vanheim, I played the Battletech Harebrained Schemes game because I like to challenge my brother to battles, which I know where he is. He knows we're gaming tonight, and he likes to take a pre-game nap. So that's why we're not seeing Hungar right now, is he's probably taking his pre-game nap. And I expect players to start showing up anytime within the next, what do we got? Yeah, next hour. See, I've never played any of those, Jose. Go to sleep, Satya, and sleep well, sir. Good night. Our friend from Finland going to sleep at the top of the world. Must be interesting. I will take the trash out for too long. Gotcha. Yeah. Like I said, the wife has got the directions, ingredients, whatever, to make pizza like they used to serve in school. I don't, the Americans here will all remember, their the middle school, high school pizza that they used to serve, the square ones. And she was watching one of the channels she likes to watch, and the guy had all the necessary directions for how to they used to actually make that pizza, which I thought it was frozen. I had no idea that it was made in the schools. And so she has made a couple of big flat pans of it for um, the game night. And yeah. And a guy that I haven't gamed with in 20 years is showing up again. So that'll be good. But Bruce, if you wanted to jump in, I don't know if you're doing something now. I put the link in. Pretty much anybody can jump in if they want. I'm just currently painting some pig face storks, but also some other stuff too. And I'm probably going to throw these in my game. But I've got Venger on foot and on his nightmare. I've got she's in the Shady Dragon Inn book. I forget her name. Something the sorceress. And then this guy who is the half orc assassin. I remember when I was a little kid, I had a lot of these figures, but they were like 3-inch tall PVC figures. What is the name? The PC game I'm playing, which is on Steam, is like Vanheim or Valheim or whatever. And on Steam, I am the Hamburglar. Like I'm Steam friends with Raven and a couple of other people. What's up, bro? What you painting?
Today I'm painting this gigantic piece of fungal problem.
That's what it looks like. It looks like if a troll got infected with the disease from The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Or an ogre or a giant or something. That's too big to be an ogre. That's like a giant.
Yeah, this is almost like a giant. I saw a really cool multicolored picture of it where like he's got like the Roy G. Biv all around his form.
Right.
But like I saw that and I'm like, man, I could do that. I've got some good colors here. So I'm probably going to do that because the barkiness of them, I don't want to make him look so brown. Everything I've been doing lately looks like it's Quake, and I don't want to do Quake brown.
Sepia tones for everyone.
Yeah. I don't need that.
It's like sepia tones for days.
And I started unboxing my package from Reaper, so I got.
Oh yeah, you did the Kickstarter for like
the King and Queen of Hell.
Well, that's cool.
These are huge. So
I can see. They would actually make really good Praetors for Trench Crusade.
Yeah.
Not that I'm telling you should play Trench Crusade. I'm just saying.
This feels like a kind of rubbery petroleum, not like the standard resin.
Right.
Not like these figures did. These battalions. These guys have a different texture to them, but there's a shininess to it. They're soft. It feels supple. Sorry.
Well, it's like, hold on now. You've
been playing that
art, and I know you know this, but for anyone else that happens to watch this channel at any point in the future, if you buy Reaper miniatures, wash them in soapy water before you try to prime them. Yeah. Because if you don't, not always, that's the problem. Not every time, But every now and then, one of your miniatures will still have some of the mold release on it. And then there will be issues, which aren't incredibly hard to fix. But I'm just saying it will save you a little bit of heartache if you just put your Reaper, actually any plastic miniature you should wash. Probably any lead. You should probably just wash all your miniatures.
Yeah, I recommend washing and at least looking at mold lines whenever you first undo your miniatures out of the box.
Right. I've never played Sword and Sorcery, the computer game. No. As a matter of fact, I've never heard of it. But, I mean, Jose, you know that I'm a hermit, bro. And the only reason I'm playing the game I'm playing now is because my brother-in-law had 3 days when we were in Alabama to convince me I should play it. Because, and not only 3 days, but a whole car ride home because he rode up with someone else. And then since we would be passing nearby to where he lives, he's like, hey, I'll catch a ride with you guys, hang out with you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, brother-in-law, obviously. Come on in, right? So that was 7 hours, I guess, of him telling me all about how awesome this game was. Eventually, he just wore me down because I was playing Ark and having a great time, building my shit, running amok. And he just wore me down because he just kept being like, nah, dude, you don't understand. And then one night he actually got his laptop working and he showed me like him playing the game. He's got like a whole farm of Luxes and like basically he's super in game and I'm like a total noob. But regardless, yeah, he convinced me to play the damn game. I'm not trying to convince anyone to play the game, but I did make that video just to show you. And the thing is that I didn't show you because I logged off and then later I logged back on. I went out on my boat and I built a portal so I could start getting closer to the swamp. And sure as shit, as soon as the sun set, I got attacked by Draugr. And they pretty much two-shot me, even though I was wearing like tier 3 bronze armor. And then to add spite to everything, after they killed me, they destroyed my boat, the portal, the everything. So they tore everything I'd built that day down. And I had no way to get back. And that's how that game is. And it wants you to know, too. It's like, yeah, we're going to screw you over every chance we get. The most important thing I would say is always make sure you have 3 different kinds of food eaten and available. Because like you start with 13 hit points and barely any stamina. But if you eat the right food, you can have up to like 100 and something hit points and a shit ton of stamina. At which point, things that can one-shot you now, you can just wade through 10 of them. So in this game, it really is all about the equipment you make and wear and the food you make and eat, because you can't go somewhere and you got to find the material and make the food. It don't just appear, So, but that's all. That's all I got to say about that. It's a very frustrating game, very difficult. But I need that kind of challenge if I'm going to stay interested.
Have you played Armored Core 6 yet? If you like
I
the challenge,
have not, but I love Armored Core.
you might want to try that. I haven't gone back to it. I've died 4 times on the first boss, and I watched a few videos. I really just want to hack the game because I don't like the way it sets up the first battles. It feels like I'm fighting in a postage stamp, too small.
Right.
And then the thing flies out in the area I can't go into, and he just fucking AoE missiles me. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to fix you, but I need to hack your game first. And my buddies are like, man, that's cheating. I said, I don't give a shit. I bought it for $60 fucking dollars. Fuck you. You know?
Here's the thing. If you're not playing multiplayer, then it's not cheating.
No, it's not.
And some people might have a problem with that. But if you're playing a single player game and you want to, do whatever you want to do, that's between you and whatever higher force you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're cheating on like MMOs and using, radar and shit, you're a scumbag.
If you do that, you're a piece of shit.
Right. So, like, because what you said you want to do, I technically did. I played the game for a while. And then after I got wiped, I went online and I was like, what is the best seed for this game? And I found a list of them, and I found the one that I thought would be the most fun to play. So I made a new server using that seed. And so far it's been, it's all right, because everywhere you want to go is on the same continent, basically. So I won't have to worry about building a boat and selling for hours to get to a boss to fight. I can just, fight the boss, have fun, maybe unlock iron, build a great sword and start beating the shit out of people. I mean, that's what I want to do.
I wanted to like Skyrim, and like I had to mod the hell out of it to get it okay.
Yeah, but you're a rookie. Nobody modded like Shauner modded.
No.
I remember one time he made a video and it was like me playing Skyrim with 1,600 mods. I was like, what?
Yeah, Shauner was the Skyrim mod king.
There's 1,000+ mods for that game? I didn't even know.
Yeah, I play with like 6 of them. That's it. I don't need all those mods.
Yeah, he had like the fully naked mod and this mod. But the thing with Shauner, may rest in peace, is that he had been playing Skyrim for like 10 years.
Since 2011, when it first set foot on the fucking retail market.
I mean, you want to talk about a dude that was devoted. I mean, 10+ years on one game.
Yeah. And it wasn't a game like, Quake. It was a game like Skyrim that came with its own, here's your sandbox. And then other people were adding to the sandbox and just, they got crazy with it.
The only game I've even played near that much was Dark Age of Camelot.
Morrowind.
Yeah. Dark Age of Camelot was an MMO. And I remember one time I hit /played on it, and it was like 300 something days. And then hours, minutes. So, yeah, I played that game for 300 days. So that's like 600+ hours at least. And over the course of like 8 years. But I met some of my closest friends on there. I met my wife. Well, I didn't meet her on there, but she ended up playing, which was cool. Since I had I don't know, I know you remember probably the whole, before Discord and everything, you had TeamSpeak.
TeamSpeak and IRC and ICQ.
Yeah, I had a TeamSpeak server with like 20+ slots or something, so that when we would do raids or whatever, you didn't have to type everything in all the time, because I had been basically drugged from EverQuest to...
No, that was a game.
It was something. Dark Age of Camelot. And the main draw was in Dark Age of Camelot, you could play a Celt or a Viking or a Briton. And there was, in addition to the normal game where you run around killing monsters and stuff, there was a whole realm war aspect to the game. Like in each nation's frontier, there were 5 castles. And if you went there and defeated all the enemy troops and went up to the castle and killed off the lord of the castle, you could claim the castle. And then it would there a message would go out across the server saying, like, my guild name was Kingdom of Hibernia. So, everyone would see the Kingdom of Hibernia has tucking done whatever, right?
Mhm.
And then if you spent points that you earned from killing enemy players, you could like decorate the castle with your guild banners and increase the strength of the NPC guards and all kinds of stuff. And that was the big reason to play that game, was that once you hit level 50, which was hard, I was on my server, I think I was within the top 20 people to hit max level before they smoothed out XP progression. Is that Naga? Oh, that's like a Merilith, but with two. So like a Yanti.
I got to start adding the arms in.
Oh, it is a Merilith. Oh, awesome. One of my favorite devils or demons, whichever.
Yours and mine both.
Yeah, they're cool. They always been cool in D&D. But yeah, so basically, you'd have guilds that would make enemies out of other guilds and sometimes on your own team. And there was a lot of politicking and forming above a guild, which my guild had 100+ players in it. You could also form alliances with other guilds, which meant that everyone in alliance would be able to communicate on alliance chat. And that made it easier to organize raids into enemy nations or PvE raids to get better gear or whatever, right? So it's a good game. And I played a Celt hero named Conkabar, spelled Conkabar, because I didn't know how to spell it correctly when I made the character. You got the Overlord dropship. Nice. This guy and his Baltec addiction. He's worse than I am.
Battletech is a fun game. I can see why people would get addicted to that. I can easily see why people get addicted to that.
Well, you would have two things to worry about. The one thing would be, yes, gameplay is amazing. And the second thing would be the miniatures are really good. So the fact that you like to paint miniatures, you'd be making your own mercenary units or painting up pre-existing units. I mean, it can turn into a whole thing, because the lore is 40 years old. Like my brother, all of his units are black and red because he plays Hansen's Raiders, and he also plays 1st and 7th Sword of Light, which is House Curita or the Draconis Combine. They're basically techno samurai. And my mechs a lot of times are some combination of purple and white, because I play the Free Worlds League, and their house colors are purple. However, it is very common for mech warriors to paint their mechs in the whatever camouflage is most suitable for whatever world they're fighting on. So regardless of what house you decide you want to build a unit for, you can paint that shit up chocolate chip camo like Desert Storm and call it a day. Because, and then you can say, well, this unit was fighting on a desert planet and they painted their mechs and they just haven't really gotten around to painting them back. And that is 100% legitimate. Honestly, anything you want to do is legitimate. You know what I mean? Now, they released a new version of Battletech, and I don't know if they're trying to compete with like 40K, but in the new version of Battletech, there's like kaiju and shit. So you can be playing a mech versus some kind of giant demonic monster or something. And I don't know. Maybe people will like that.
I never would have thought they'd be doing BattleTech Pacific Rim.
Well, the thing is that Wizards of the Coast is not the only game company out there that can say, "Hey, let's see how stupid I can be." Right? Games Workshop is right next to them, saying, "Hold my beer."
Fuck.
And they
You got Paizo.
Well, who even cares about Paizo? I don't even know what they're doing. But
Blocking people on Twitter. That's all they do.
well, good for them. That's if you're a company, that's like the stupidest shit ever. It's like you are blocking the people you want to buy your product. Yeah, smart. Good move, dumbass. But anyway, so Games Workshop managed to piss off basically most of its player base at one point or another. So those players looking for another game found BattleTech, and which does fix a lot of the problems that Games Workshop has, like army list changing, new rules every 2 years, etc. Whereas BattleTech's had the same rule set for 35, 40 years,
Yeah.
So it's possible that BattleTech Gothic, they're just trying to latch on to the 40K fans that had already left 40K to play BattleTech, but they wanted to make it more like BattleTech or more like 40K, and that's kind of what they did. Yeah, they call it Gothic, like the mechs even look different. I mean, they're the same mechs, but they've got spikes on them and skulls and shit. So it's like basically someone said, "Hey, let's take a bunch of Mech Warrior mechs, but make them look like 40K." And someone else was like, "Genius. This is why we pay you the big bucks." And that's what they did. I'm not really interested in that kind of shit, but some people may be. And good for them. Good for them. Me, I'll continue just playing classic BattleTech and Alpha Strike. We got a bear. The other day, I saw a bear, a great big bear, a furry bear. I forget.
I'm getting a serenade on entrance. It's even better.
Yeah, I forget all the words to that, but the bear son.
Bruce, long time no see.
Yeah, no doubt. Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, at dog's age.
A dog's age.
Dog's minutes, yes.
We never said dog's age. We always said coon's age.
Yeah, we don't say that because it sounds racist.
I mean, I don't understand where that came racist.
We don't.
Oh, I get it because some
are
racist
raccoons
people
in
might have
Canada.
referred to black people.
I just never understood where fucking raccoons were fucking racist.
Do you really need me to explain it to you, Bruce? Do you
Go
really
ahead,
need me to
because I'm
explain
an
to you the
idiot
origin of the
sometimes.
word for racism?
I'm an idiot sometimes. If you want to, you can. If
When you see a raccoon in the dark, what do you see?
Glowing eyes.
His eyes, and maybe his teeth if his mouth is open. Fill in the rest with your imagination.
Yeah, but human eyes don't reflect light like that.
That's not the point, guys. Racism isn't about rational thought. Come on.
Whenever I see a raccoon, usually he's jumping out of the dumpster and he's running back to the ditch.
Yeah, it's because you live in a city.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Where most raccoons got type 2 diabetes and shit.
Yes, San Antonio.
No, when we said coon in Kentucky, it meant raccoon.
Yes, I know.
But we just call them coons. And you went coon hunting. It didn't mean you were out in the hills hunting black people down. That's crazy.
We just don't use the word in Canada. We just say raccoon to avoid any fucking problems.
Oh, I saw a documentary about your raccoons in Toronto, and that's where I got the whole. They all have type 2 diabetes and shit. Because all they do is break into like donut shops, dumpsters, and eat pastry all night.
The ones in Toronto are pretty bad. The ones in Vancouver are like the size of fucking, fuck. They're huge. They're massive.
Yeah, these people were doing this like raccoon study and outreach and shit because apparently, yeah, I like his logo is cool. That's cool, Bear.
Thank you.
Some of these raccoons were getting diabetic so bad they were going blind.
Yeah, I believe it.
Because, diabetes will do that, right? So they're trying to figure out ways to like save the raccoons because they're getting super fat and dying of like heart conditions, when they're only half as old as they should get.
That doesn't sound like a problem though. They're fucking urban pests.
Oh, you gotta love the raccoon.
Listen, there are tons of raccoons in the wild. If humanity what?
Hear me out. Humanity shows up to a pristine area, bulldozes it down, covers it in concrete, just starts throwing up concrete boxes all over the place. Most animals are like, okay, I guess I'll die. Like the meme, right?
Yeah.
Raccoons are like, this is paradise.
Yeah.
Because they actually do better in city than they do in the woods.
Well, it's because they have no natural predators in the city.
Exactly. That's what the Canadian documentary I watched said. Like if you look at raccoons per square mile in Toronto, it's like 100 times more than any like
in the wild
rural area.
Yeah.
They're just all over the place because food is plentiful. There's apparently if a raccoon can fit its head into an area, the rest of it, like a cat, can go too.
Yeah.
So there's tons of places to hide. There's tons of food. And since they're nocturnal, they come out at night. And usually most people are not up and they avoid them. And they tagged a shit ton of them and was showing how they like move around the city and they avoid each other even. Unless it's made. Anyway, I could go on about it. Me and my wife watched that documentary and we're both like,
oh no, I grew up in the country.
Shit, like, I didn't know about raccoon.
I never saw a raccoon in my life till I came to the city.
See, I did, but that was because now here's where Bear loses his mind.
Maybe. Here we go.
We would hunt raccoons or called them, and then we'd take them to the end of town where the melanated people lived, and they would buy the raccoons from us for about $10 a piece. But you had to leave their feet on because somebody had tried to sell them a bunch of skinned cats.
Oh, gross.
And pissed them off pretty bad. They would also buy turtles and possums. And raccoons and possums are things that my family never ate, even though we did eat groundhogs.
Yeah.
Every time we could get one. But the black guys down the way, they would pay you money for them.
That's fair.
Because they liked them. They like the way they taste. Whatever. I don't even know.
It's fair. So I'm not judging.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying if you went out and you killed a couple of raccoons one night, one, you had fun because you're out, coon hunting with all your friends and drinking probably. And two, you could always go down the road to where the old black guy would be sitting in front of his vegetable stand and be like, I got a couple of raccoons over here. And he'd hand you a crisp 20 and you give them the raccoons. You know what I mean? Everybody's happy.
That's funny because like where I work in San Antonio, like the other week, I had 2 raccoons trying to face off against me until I grabbed my shovel off the side of the truck. And I started whipping it around. And I got to tell you, the funniest sound in the world is when you smack a raccoon in the head with a shovel and it goes dong dong, and then the raccoon makes a funny sound and he staggers away, and the other raccoon's like, I don't want any part of this fucking bald man. I don't want a part of this fat guy means business. And they both run the fuck away because I was there right on top of the grease trap, right on top of their soup kitchen, basically. And they were wanting to get in there. They were licking the bottom of the fucking manhole cover after I flipped it over. And I'm like, guys, get out of here. Come on, get out. And then one of them got like feral on me. I'm like, oh, hell no. So I ran back to the truck and grabbed the shovel. And I started whipping it around like I'm Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon. Watch me with this tool. It just made the greatest sound in the world.
That's kind of funny. Me personally, I'm a softie. I like pretty much everything that lives in the woods.
Oh, I do too. Until you start hissing
Like
at me like
small
you're going to gnaw
bears.
my hip off.
Well, bears aren't all bears. There are many kind of bears. There's
Never had
the
a
bear
problem
that
with
we
bears.
have in chat. There's the bear that's a big hairy guy that has a fancy for smaller, less hairy guys. Then there's the black bear, which you could probably beat up in a fight. The brown bear, that if you're lucky, you might survive. And the white bear, which is going to send your ass straight to the afterlife.
But I live far too south to deal with those big white bears.
Yeah, me too. Florida, though, is overrun with black bears. It's like all the time you read in the paper where like wildlife and game had to come out and trank a bear to get him out of somebody's tree because they raid your garbage can and then they'll climb up in a tree and be too afraid to come down. And I mean, you know, and brown bears, that's an Alaska thing for me. I've seen brown bears and they're scary, even at distance. I mean, when you see something that big that you know if it want to, it could just like eat you. It really changes your whole outlook on life. You know what I mean?
Very fucking big.
I love brown bears. There was this fool that was living years ago by the name of Timothy Treadwell.
Yep.
And he fucking took a video camera everywhere. And then one day he decided he was going to try to camp near where this brown bear was asleep.
Are you talking about the guy that he and his girlfriend got ate by the grizzlies?
Fuck yes.
Yeah, that guy thought he had established a rapport with that particular group of brown bears.
Yeah,
that turned out he was wrong.
Yeah,
because it turned out they were really hungry on that particular day. And like a lot of animals, if they're stuffed, they're not going to eat when they're full.
No.
Like a great white shark is the only animal I know of that will eat so much that it turns its belly inside out so it can eat more. But they're eating machines with literally no brain. That's just all they do. But these bears, like wolves, people will talk shit. They'll be like, wolves don't attack humans. I was like, let a pack of starving wolves encounter you alone in the woods. They will have you stripped down to the bone before you can blink. I mean, never forget that they are wild animals and nature is red of fang and claw. I think Jack London might have said that, but I'm not sure.
Well, there was a set of really good videos that came out about maybe a month ago. And there's this cow just going down the street towards this lady with the camera. And the lady with the camera is just like, oh my God, look at you. You are so pretty. And the cow charged her. It was wonderful.
It's like those idiots that go to Yellowstone Park and think they're going to run up on a bison.
I never get the bison attacks video I want. I always get like the bison video where like he's aggressive and snorting, but I never see a leg kick out and collapse somebody's head.
Oh, there's the video that fucking chicken gets hooked on the horn and just flipped through the air, man. Look for that.
That one I've seen too, Bear. That bison just does a little head tilt thing, and you see this chick fly like
fucking flying.
Because people are dumb, and I've said this before, but I got it from Casual Geographic, the one guy from Senegal that does the videos.
I love Casual Geographic, man.
Me too. All of the worst things that will kill you are typically herbivores that are blind.
Yep.
Because they all choose violence immediately. The second they recognize something is near them that doesn't smell like them, their initial response is kill it. Because they don't know whether you're a coyote or what the hell you are. They just know you're not bison. That's why rhinos are the way they are. They're blind as bats. So you run up on a rhino, normally, in its day-to-day life, a rhino is not hurting anything. It's just wandering around like a giant cow with a, but if you run up on him and he don't know what you are, he is not going to take the chance. They fully believe in He who strikes first strikes last. You know what I mean? And that's hippos. The one of the worst animals on the entire planet, and its closest relative is a blue whale. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of these hippies like to say, "Oh no, bears, wolves, etc." Most of the time they won't. But you're rolling the die. You know what I mean? It's like every time you're hanging out with them, that percentile die in the sky is rolling, and one of these days you're going to get it. I mean, not to make myself sound like an even bigger nerd than I already do, but yeah, that's just how it is, man. Luckily, if you're fishing on Eagle River, usually they'll stay back. And if you get a salmon on your line and a bear grabs it, just cut the line. Move on. Throw a couple fish down the way if you want. I mean, and be armed. And usually they will leave you alone. But
usually,
like I said, it's always that chance. But you're more likely to get stomped to death by a moose than you are killed by a bear up there.
Yeah, it depends where you go and what you're doing. Listen, you don't hear a lot about moose attacks in the news up here. You hear an awful lot about bear attacks because moose don't want to be around us.
Right.
Moose want nothing to do with humans. Nothing. We don't produce anything they want to eat. Nothing. Fucking bears figured out we're a buffet over here for them.
Garbage cans.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything raccoons like.
Garbage cans.
Humans too.
Garbage cans, Pekingese, cats. We leave a lot of stuff outside for bears.
Right. Yeah.
Cougars are even worse. Oh.
Yeah. Well, we got cougars, but if you encounter one, usually you just talk softly to it and back away, never take your eyes off of it. Because like any cat, the second you take your eyes off of it, that's when it's going to get you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're just waiting because they're ambush predators. So the second they think they've got the jump on you. But now what you said about your Canadian mooses where you are must just be, or is that Mises? Anyway.
Mooses.
They're just much more polite than Alaskan moose because an Alaskan moose will walk right down the center of town.
Yeah, but that's because there's not a lot of people in Alaska.
And if they catch your ass on a sidewalk going to school or something, and it's a mama with a baby, you better get that shit away because it will stomp you to death. It'll kill you. I mean, they don't even think about it. They're just like, all right, time to kill this thing. I don't even know what it is, but I'm killing it anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And that's one of the big problems, right?
But, I mean, they're cool. And supposedly, according to some story in British Columbia, the moose had learned to dive down to eat kelp, and orcas are every now and then they'll wait. And when a moose dives down to eat the kelp, the orca just whip in and.
Oh, orcas are fucking vicious.
Yeah, they are absolutely an affront to God. Made material.
Well, they're the largest member of the dolphin family. So when we call them killer whales, that's not 100% accurate.
Right. They're dolphins.
They play with their food.
Well, they're smart.
But have you ever seen them play with their food?
Oh, yeah. When they come like a seal half a mile into the sky.
Yeah.
Not literally a half a mile. But
there was a seal, and these two fucking orca were going under, coming up and using their tails to whap it across the air. And then the other one would go over and whap it. And in between, the seal's trying to get to the fucking land for all he's worth, right? But these pricks are just playing with them for like 10 minutes. Like, holy fuck.
I have seen footage of orcas swimming and there being like a stingray or something. And the orca just smacking the shit out of it for no reason.
Orcas are the cats of the aquatic world.
They are. And also, they like to catch
themselves for a meal. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, they like to catch big sharks, hit them, roll them over, and they can remove a shark liver with surgical precision And then they don't kill the shark. They let it go.
Yeah, they don't eat the rest of the shark. That shark liver, though, that's nummy. They love that.
Which means that poor shark swims off and dies a while later.
About
Because,
half
you know,
hour.
yeah, because he's bleeding out and he's got no liver anymore. But yeah, they do crazy shit. They try to kill other whales. They're constantly fighting with sperm whales and every other thing.
Yeah.
Well, the raccoons, Jose Pablo, the raccoons are thriving in cities because you make stuff that they like. You
The
throw
other
away
animal that
things.
thrives in cities is chicken hawks and foxes.
Yeah.
Like apparently New York City has a shit ton of chicken hawks. And they just build their nests up in the buildings and wherever and, you know, glide around eating pigeons and rats and shit. And it's like all good for them because, you know, why wouldn't they? You know, it's like a free, safe area to live and a smorgasbord buffet available every single day. Yeah. Yeah. So up in the where my mom is, they had a problem for a minute with coyotes, but some of my hillbilly cousins went out and bought night scopes and just whacked them all. Because yeah, coyotes are really hard to actually get during the day because they're so smart. But if you get a night vision scope on your rifle, you can go out at night and just sit up on a high place like a hilltop or something and shoot them all day. Well, all night, because they can't see you. You can see them, and you know, you drop one and sometimes you'll hit one coyote and instead of running, the other coyotes will run to the first coyote to see what it's screaming about.
Yeah.
At which point you take them out. And yeah, the state made it where you actually, like, there's no season on them. They want them dead because they're deemed an invasive species and a menace to livestock.
Yeah, very dangerous.
Plus, they'll eat your little dogs and cats. So yeah, they you know, I have some relatives that I didn't even know you could buy night vision scopes, but apparently you can.
Just depends where you live.
Must be pretty expensive, man. We didn't even have those in the Army. And we had PVS 5s, but those things suck. You know, the ones you clip onto the front of the thing on your helmet and you could pull it down. But it'd give you a headache because it made everything just shades of green. And also it removed your depth perception. So not a good time. But yeah.
The ones that are the red shaded, they got rid of those back in Vietnam because people were seeing stuff in those. And
yeah, I remember. I heard about this. This is fucked up, eh?
Yeah, like they're seeing like demons or winged bats, like man size or larger, flying around.
Yeah.
So they're just racking off like 5 or 6 feet of fucking 50 cal and M60 off the side of the helicopter, and the other guys in the formation like, what the hell's he shooting at? And then the guys that have the red tinted nods on are like, holy cow, do you see this? They got rid of those.
Well, I have a question. I wish Raven were around. I would ask her because she'd probably have some info on this. What you're talking about, right? Is it because the red night vision was affecting the brain, or were they actually seeing weird shit?
No one knows.
Because, I mean, Vietnam is very mountainous, very jungly. There's not a lot of people in the deep bush. God only knows what could actually be living there, you know, that comes out at night.
You ever listen to the cryptid casts off bedtime stories and wartime stories? You ever listen to those, James, or no?
A couple of them, yes.
Yeah, the Vietnam era stuff. They've talked about the lizards, the reptilians. They've talked about the fast movers, the crawlers, the night crawlers that inhabited the mountainous areas of Vietnam. They talked about a lot of that stuff, and there's a lot of reports that claim this. Don't know
Well, I
if it's
mean,
true or not, but Vietnam just had some tunnel complex discovered back in 2012. I don't know if you remember that or not, but that's a beautiful cave complex right there in the mountains, and the canopy kind of shields it. But then when you start going in and they start panning the camera around, it's beautiful. Scary as hell though, too.
you know the cave complex that they kind of try to simulate in the movie We Were Brothers?
I don't know the movie, but go ahead.
Okay, the We Were Brothers depicts the Battle of Ashwa Valley,
Okay.
and where a bunch of 101st Airborne guys got kind of, or Air Cav guys got trapped, and the VC had plotted this battle for a while because they were thinking if they could drag the Americans into a stand-up fight and beat them, then hey, they'd win. You know, that'd be the end of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad plan.
No.
Well, they had the whole mountainside was just riddled with tunnels. And my niece, when she visited Vietnam, she got to go on a tour where they actually drove them out to the battlefield and showed them, like, there's this one area where like they weren't Marines, they were Army. 3 Army guys held off like hundreds of EC for days. And they called it the rubber tree plantation.
Mm-hmm.
And she got to see that. And then they got a tour into these tunnels, which apparently were like 3-4 levels down, like the most giant dungeon you can imagine. And like deep down in it, they had like field hospitals, communication things. This thing was miles across, just dug right into the mountains, you know, which is how the VC kept, or well, these were NVA guy regulars. Wherever they attacked from, the next time they'd attack from another place because they were moving all around the American forces through tunnels. So, but yeah, the idea of like crazy monsters in Vietnam makes sense to me. I mean, that said, do you mean, yeah, Mel Gibson, We Were Soldiers. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. She got to Historical Doppelganger. My niece got to go on a guided tour in those tunnels and see all the different locations. Because the Vietnamese, if you're an American and you go over there, they're super nice to you. Like in the Rubber Grove, they actually have a monument dedicated to the brave soldiers that died here, which I think they probably mean theirs, but I like to think that they might include ours too.
I would think I think they include both.
James mute, or is it me?
It must be you. I can hear him just fine.
No, I'm not mute.
It's on my end. Apparently, I'll fix my thing. Hang on.
But that said, my wife keeps giving me the look. I have to go. If I don't go get the trash out and everything, she's in there busily making those pizzas. The next time I broadcast, it'll be from the end of the driveway.
I don't want that. James, you take care. Bear, good seeing you again.
Yeah.
James, if you're bored, we had a funny kind of discussion about that movie, The Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Oh, God. I love that movie. Isn't that Roddy Piper?
It is.
Yep.
Oh, man. He was so cool back in the day. Hot Rod, Roddy Piper. That's when wrestling was its best. The Iron Sheik, Roddy Piper, Nikolai Volkov,
Andre,
Hulkamaniac, Randy Savage, Nature Boy. I mean, the Fabulous Freebird. I mean, I could go on for 10 years. It was just talent everywhere. Talent. The Owen brothers,
The Hart brothers.
Owen Hart, and yeah,
Hart.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much national heroes in my country.
Well, apparently a lot of people go to Canada to get trained.
They used to go to the dungeon. Stu Hart would train them. So Lance
Yeah.
Storm, Chris Jericho, there was a ton of them that all came up and trained at the dungeon.
Yeah, I guess it turns out the Canadians really like wrestling, which so do I. So one more thing we have in common. But yeah, I gotta get the trash out and everything. Game will be starting in about 30 minutes. So yeah, I just gotta get out of here. But I'll catch you later. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks
No
for
worries,
having
man.
me.
Take care.
And have a great day.